Okay, so something you can do with the steering stem on a motorbike, specifically these CRF250s and 450s, they come from the factory with the steering stem kind of loose, so you can see that you get quite a lot of play by itself. It's just moving by itself. Obviously that doesn't help when it comes to any potential head shake or anything like that, so something I know a lot of people are picky with is stiffening up the steering stem so you've got a bit more resistance there. It's almost like a makeshift steering damper. So the procedure for this varies from bike to bike, but I think most of the Japanese bikes will have a similar setup to you're going to see here on the Honda. For the Austrian bikes, KTM, Gas, Husky, not exactly sure if it's completely different or a similar method, but maybe you can let me know if you've got any experience with those, how it differs. So we're going to take off the crossbar pad to begin with. Get rid of that. Now if you had a good enough spanner or the right spanner, you could probably get it in there and loosen this off without removing the steering mounts or handlebar mounts. But since I want to torque it up afterwards and I'm going to use my torque wrench on that anyway, I may as well just take the bars off. It's not really difficult. It does make it a bit more tricky to see how tight or loose the steering is, because without the bars in, it doesn't move near as much as when you've got the weight of the bars there pulling it side to side. So we'll take off the bars, and then you can always put them back on quickly and not tighten them up fully, just to see how much it has tightened or not the steering stem. So if we take off these steering handlebar, steering again, handlebar mount bolts, torque these back up afterwards as well. I should say as well, make a note of where the bars are positioned. You've got on these, you've got a mark on the mount, so you can line it up with the markings on the bars, and obviously you can get them central because you'll see that the markings are central in between the mounts. I always tend to keep the handlebars, sort of the bend in the handlebars, in line with the forks. That's always what I was taught, that's what my dad told me, that's what I know a lot of people do. I've never messed about with handlebar position, moving them forward and back. I'm probably just not good enough to really notice the difference, but I know some people, you know, that's a big thing. So we've got the mounts off. So now I'd just kind of move the bars out of the way. It doesn't really matter where they are now, just rest them there. And then we'll get the steering stem off. So the steering stem nut on these is 32mm. It needs a 32mm socket, which is actually the same as the rear axle nut as well. So I'm just going to loosen this off. I'm using a torque wrench to take it off, just I'm going to be using that to put it back on. It's obviously tight. There we go. So yeah, just loosen off the upper triple clamp pinch bolts. Torque setting on these is like 22, so yeah, not much. And the same on the other side. Probably would have been better doing this before I took the bars off. So So lesson learned there. Now I can't hold on to it. But like I said, because there's such a low torque setting, they're easy to get off. So you have to loosen those off, because if you don't, when you go to adjust the steering stem, you could get you will get some binding up between the triple clamps. So this is the adjustment you're going to move, the adjustment nut you're going to move. So obviously clockwise to stiffen the steering and anti-clockwise to loosen it. It's a bit of a guessing game, because like I said, with the bars off, you can't really tell what it's done until you put the bars back on. So we'll adjust it a bit, put the bars back on quickly, and then see how it feels. And then if it needs more adjustment off that, you can repeat this process again. So really you want to use a half decent punch for this. I've got these, I think I got these off Amazon. There's a set of all different gauges, and they're obviously brass, so they're a bit softer so they don't damage. I use them on my when I'm adjusting the shock adjustment on the shock preload as well. So you can use a flathead screwdriver, but you'll risk damaging that, and you don't really want to do that. So we'll try it with this, see how we get on. You can see it's just moving around a bit. There you go. So I've tightened that a little bit now. Let's put everything back together and see how we look. First of all, I'll tighten up the steering stem nut. So it's on this bike, it's 108 Newton meters. It's not actually in the manual, but I found it online. Okay, we've got the torque wrench set to 108. Quite a lot actually. I might find that the bike is moving all over the place, so I might try and do this up. There you go. That's that bit done. And then we'll just let's see, I'll correct my mistake from last time. I'll do the pinch bolts after I put the bars on. Yeah, with the bar mounts, I don't know if it makes any difference, but this sort of cut out on the Honda's top part of the clamp is facing the rider, so it's just how I noticed it was before. I really have no idea if it makes any difference, but I may as well put it back on the same way I took it off. So like I said, we're just checking at the moment how much that adjustment I've made to the adjuster, as how much difference that's made. So like I said, you can get the bars lined up based on those markings in the middle. I may as well line them up properly, because if I find that they have adjusted the right, I have adjusted it the right amount, then I won't need to do it all again. So with these, you obviously want to alternate top to bottom, and they're 22 Newton meters, same as the upper triple clamp pinch bolts. Don't need to do the pinch bolts to check what difference that's made to the steering. So I don't know, that seems a bit better to me. And what you will find is when you ride the bike, it loosens up. My last bike I had, the same one, the 22 Honda though. I did this on it, and within a few months of riding, it was all loose again. So, and you know, people say you can damage the bearings and stuff in the steering stem, but I've also heard people say that they've done this to every bike they've ever owned and never damaged or found any problems from tightening this. So I'm happy with that now. So got a little bit of resistance there. I'll see what it's like after I've ridden it for a bit, and then tighten it up again if I need to. So I've got a different torque wrench to do the pinch bolts. Got an analog one because I had to use my digital one for the for the steering stem nut because of such high torque value, but for this one it's just 22 Newton meters. So set your torque wrench. Okay, so that's on 22 Newton meters, and when you tighten these you want to alternate, just go in between each one. But like I said, it's quite a low torque, and I think these are 22, well these are 22, I think the lower triple clamp pinch bolts are 20. I like the digital torque wrench, but there's nothing quite like a nice click when you tighten them up. Now we'll just do one last check to make sure the handlebars are where they need to be. They're all aligned, they look pretty good. Coincidentally, also 22 Newton meters for these on top. I just checked the forks are in line with the bend in the bar, which they look like they are. And again on these, just alternate until you get to that. There you go. Don't over tighten these because I've seen them crack before. Not from my experience, but what I've seen of other people's, no names mentioned. There you go. Just to finish up, I'll put the breather hose for the petrol tank in the steering stem, and then put the crossbar pad back on. Done.